עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו לעמו ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו לעמו ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, לשנה טובה תיגדנו, לשנה טובה תיגדנו, תיגדנו, לשנה טובה, לשנה טובה תיגדנו, לשנה טובה תיגדנו. לשנה טובה תיגדנו, לשנה טובה תיגדנו, תיגדנו, לשנה טובה.
Matovu, how beautiful it is to all be together in this beautiful virtual community.
Matovu,
ביתך ומקום משכן כבודך משכן כבודך
מה טובו אוהליך יעקב משכנותיך ישראל מה טובו אוהליך יעקב משכנותיך
Welcome, Shabbat Shalom, and Shana Tova, everyone. Normally, this would be the point where I would ask you all to turn off your electronic devices, but not today. Today, I'm thankful for them because they are the reason we can all be together. So you don't need to try and hide your phones and your prayer books. See, Rabbi, I'm praying. Rather, embrace them as we celebrate together.
We rise for the Baruch Hu.
I grew up thinking that the Shema was the most important prayer in all of Judaism. But the truth is, it's not a prayer at all. It's an imperative, calling on us to listen to one another. It's a particularly fitting thought this morning because the only commandment associated with Rosh HaShanah is to listen to the shofar. And listening is the only way that we can do the real work of the High Holy Days. The only way that we can repair, can change our relationships for the better is to listen, really listen to the people in our lives and seek to understand their feelings, their pain, their joy, their worries, their happiness, their needs, their longings, their fears, their hopes, and their dreams. That is the work of these next 10 days and every day thereafter. Throughout the High Holy Days, we sing Shema Kolenu, pleading with God, begging God to listen to us. In this new year, let's do the same for those we love most. And listen a little bit more.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. ויהיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ושוק בך ובקומך.
וכשאתם לאהוב תעיודיה, היו לטוטפו בין עיניה. וכשאתם המזוזות ביתיה, ובישריה. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Love, only love, with all your heart. Love, only love, with all your soul. Listen to your wisdom inside and around you. You will remember as you're walking through the day. Make this world a better place. Children will learn, and the future will be love. Love, only love, with all your heart. Love, only love, with all your soul. Listen to your wisdom inside and around you. You will remember. Listen to your wisdom inside and around you. You will remember.
With our hearts now full of ways to be holy to God, we remember a time when we didn't quite know who God was for us. We hold both of these ideas at the same time. Consider the lessons of the Exodus and how it helps shape our faith today. Consider that for more than 400 years, we were slaves in Egypt. 400 years. No Moses yet. Just slavery, which left us bewildered in our deepest darkness of narrowness, of choicelessness, of bitter enslavement. God redeemed us. Though we, the Hebrews, had no awareness nor faith in God, in this darkness, it was standing on the shores of the sea, having experienced and seen the plagues, that we stood on that shore of freedom. We easily could have then, as we easily could now, choose to run from the challenge. We could choose to ignore faith, to wander in an untethered existence. But we choose freedom. We choose to walk to and through the miracles to experience the defining moments on the other side of those mighty walls of water. Imagine looking up at a wall of suspended water with fish and porpoises and maybe even whales singing a song of freedom, which caused us to burst forth in our own song. Mi Chamocha celebrates that moment of faith and calls us back with joyous songs of praise.
We join in our ancient song of redemption, Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefet.
שירה חדשה, שיבחו גאולים לשמך, על שפת הים. יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני אלוהינו לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדי חינומך, יהודה וישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Amen.
The Amida means the standing prayer because we stand when we say it. But today on Rosh HaShanah, it has a far deeper meaning. Today, we stand before God and offer an accounting of our souls. Today, we stand before ourselves and face our deeds and take responsibility for our actions. Today, we stand before each other and ask for forgiveness and a chance to start anew.
We rise for the Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Kohenei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ביבוא. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא עונים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום אליו, מלך ממיט ומחיה ומצליח לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
On Rosh HaShanah it is inscribed, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed. How many shall pass away, and how many shall be born? Who shall live, and who shall die? But repentance, prayer, and righteousness avert the severity of the decree. These are the first and last statements of the Unatan Tokef. Let's look at each statement separately. Who shall live, and who shall die? The haunting and heavy feeling that sits within us these days of awe. But because of this idea of life and death's finality, we often overlook the full context of this poem. Only a portion is about death. The rest is about life, or more specifically, about the life we will lead. Who shall be at peace, and who will not? Who shall be serene, and who will be tormented? Over which we do, in fact, have some control, which is prescribed in the last statement. Repentance, returning and fixing of our relationships, prayer, the opportunity to focus ourselves with intention, and righteousness, our acts of kindness we put out into the world. And what do these things actually do? First, the Hebrew. Ma'avirin et roa ha'gzera, often translated as, these things will avert the severity of the decree. Let's break this down, starting with roa ha'gzera, severity of the decree. What is the decree? It is not solely life and death, but rather the totality of our lives, from birth to death. And the severity or harshness is also about our lives. There is not one among us who would say that life is easy, the proverbial bouquet of roses. No, we know life is hard and challenging, to say the least. So now, ma'avirin. The root of the word, avar or over, means passage, movement through and across, or in other words, the span of our lives. So the Unatan Tokef teaches we must acknowledge and accept that life is hard, and repentance, prayer, and righteousness not only help us through it, but it opens us up to the potential of the beauty and meaning of life's journey.
ונתן תוקף קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא והיום ובוא תירשם מלכותך ויקרא בחסד כיסאך ותשב עליו באמת ותשב עליו ובשופר גדול ייתקע. ובשופר גדול ייתקע. וכל דממה דקה
we conclude our Amidah with silent moments of Rosh HaShanah reflection.
שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך, ברכנו אבינו, ברכנו כולנו כאחד באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, ואת כל העמים בכל עת ובכל שעה. בשלומך בספר חיים, ברכה ושלום, ופרנסה טובה, פרנסה טובה, ניזכר וניכתב לפניך, אנחנו וכל עמך, בית ישראל, לחיים טובים
ata Adonai oseh hashalom.
For the past 6 months, I have been very much alone. I live alone. I sleep alone. I eat most of my meals alone, except for one dinner a week, usually on a Sunday when my daughter drives over and we order takeout and sit on my patio 10 feet away and share a meal. I get to see her beautiful face while we are eating, but then she immediately puts her mask back on because she is terrified, as she puts it bluntly, of being responsible for my death. You see, I have a couple of those underlying medical conditions that put me at risk. Yes, I talk on the phone, I FaceTime, I see people on Zoom, but the bottom line is that I am sitting at my desk or at my dining table or lying on my bed, gazing at a screen, alone. Now, the thing about being alone so much is that we have a lot of time to think about ourselves. Suddenly, we have time to focus on every little detail. Is that cough from acid reflux or corona? Is my racing heart anxiety or a heart attack? I can't sleep or I sleep all day. And what about my finances and my daughter's future? Even if we are not single people and we live within a family unit, we are still locked in and cut off. Our world has still become so small, and though we are bombarded by the media with information and news, most of it bad, it becomes so overwhelming that we hunker down into our little fortresses even further. And our sense of connection to each other outside those walls can't help but become weaker and more distant as time goes on. Which is why Rosh HaShanah is so important. Because Rosh HaShanah is not only about me or me and my immediate family, it is about us, the Jewish community, the Wilshire Boulevard Temple family, Jews all over the world who are coming together at the exact same time to pray, not just for the people in our little personal worlds, but for all of us, because we are in this together and we need each other. We can see this in the liturgy, which is designed to break down the barriers between us and unite us. All the prayers are in the plural, ending in the syllable nu, which in Hebrew means our, we, us. Avinu, our Father. Ashamnu, we have sinned. Zachrenu, remember us. And of all these prayers, the most beautiful, the most honest, and perhaps the most relevant in 2020 is the Avinu Malkeinu. The words which were written 2,000 years ago could have been written yesterday. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, be merciful to us and our children. Avinu Malkeinu, our parent, our sovereign, rid us of pestilence, war, and famine. Avinu Malkeinu, divine presence, source of life, stop all the hatred and oppression. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of life. In the past years, we would read and then sing this prayer together. All our voices would swell up in one loud, powerful refrain as we stood shoulder to shoulder in this sanctuary, feeling each other's presence, sensing each other's hearts and souls as we offered up this deeply personal yet communal prayer. Today, I ask you to sing these words with us from wherever you are. Sing them out loud and know that your voices are joining with all the other voices in our community. And that though we are apart, we are together. And though we are scattered and separated, at this moment, on this Rosh HaShanah day, we are one.
Avinu Malkeinu
We are the people of the book. Through fire and mud, dust and desert, we have borne our scrolls tenderly, like a baby swaddled in a blanket, traveling with our words sewn into our clothes and carried on our backs. The next to last panel in our beautiful murals show our ancestors fleeing from Spain in 1492. Torahs clutched in their arms. No matter where Jews flee, Rabbi Magnin once noted, the Torah is always with us, in our hearts. We continue with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah.
Then God said, "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." Isaac said to his father, "The fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" When they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand, took the knife to kill his son. What is it about this Torah portion? Why do we come back to it every Rosh HaShanah for generations? So many moments of trying to make meaning of this text year after year, of Abraham's test, his near sacrificing of his son as a sign of his faith to God. Why not discuss the test from just a few verses before? Abraham going on a journey to a land he does not know and won't even know that he is there until God tells him so. Doesn't this too show Abraham's devotion? Why this challenging, troubling, and seemingly horrible and unethical story? To show us what not to do. To show us Abraham was wrong. He should have said no. He should have spoken up. He didn't fight back. He didn't say anything. We should not be like Abraham. The moment we see something unethical in Torah, it signals something right in us. It means our ethical and moral compass is working. Maybe that is the job of Torah. Reading this story helps us remain ethically sharp and morally true. It helps us practice our professed values and help us clarify what we believe and what we are seeking. Every year, the Akedah holds up a mirror to our innermost selves, seeing our own ethical and moral failings, then making promises and declarations for change and growth. Because every year we need that reminder, that push to take us to the next stage, to then put down the mirror, and unlike Abraham, raise our voices in defiance of what we know to be wrong, and just as strongly in concert with what we know to be right, true, and just.
We invite you all now to join in the blessing before the reading of the Torah. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, V'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayehi achar hadivarim ha'ele veha Elohim nisa et Avraham vayomer elav Avraham vayomer hineni vayomer kachna et bincha et yechidcha asher ahavta et Yitzchak velech lecha el eretz hamoria v'ha'alehu sham le'ola al echad heharim asher omar elecha v'yashkem Avraham baboker v'yachavosh et chamoro v'yikach et shnei ne'arav ito ve'et Yitzchak beno ve'yavaka et se'ola vayakom vayelech el hamakom asher amar lo ha'Elohim.
Now we join in the blessing after the reading of the Torah. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu, Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
With the Torah, our source of strength, open before us, we take a moment amidst our joy and our sweet celebration of this new year to think of loved ones and family members, members of our community who are in need of healing, in need of wholeness. And in a minute, we'll offer a Misha Berach, a prayer of healing for them. So if you're thinking of someone today who could use a bit of healing, a bit of wholeness, I invite you to call them to mind now, to hold them in your heart now, as together we offer these healing words of Misha Berach. This morning, our Haftarah introduces us to Hannah. Much like Abraham and Sarah, Hannah and her husband dreamed of a child for years, to no avail. Understandably, she is bitter to the core, the prophet tells us. Year after year, she would go to the sanctuary, carrying all her bitterness, all her pain, and year after year, she would leave. Still bitter, still hurting, unchanged. But then finally, one year, something happened. One year, she left. And as the Haftarah puts it, her face was no longer as it had been. Are we so different? How many of us, like Hannah, come to the sanctuary, carrying all our troubles? And like Hannah, leave, carrying all our troubles. I think part of the reason so many of us gather on the High Holy Days is because we, in some way, hope that what happened to Hannah will happen to us. We hope that our face will change. We hope that our life will change. What did she do that year that was different? What happened that changed her? I imagine that she must have cried out to God thousands of times, begging God to give her a child. But I think Hannah's prayer was different that year. And that is what changed her. This time she doesn't just ask God to give her a child. She asks God to give her a child so that I can raise him in your service. It might seem like a small difference, but it reflects a very different perspective. This time, Hannah is talking not only about what she needs, but about what she can contribute. I think that shift in perspective is why her face was no longer as it had been. In that moment, Hannah stops allowing what she did not have to embitter her and blind her to all the things that she did have. She had a partner who loved and adored her. We all know so many people who yearn for that. She had health and wealth and food and drink, but she couldn't eat. She couldn't eat because she spent so much of her life in tears over what she did not have. Until that day in the sanctuary. That day she began to look at her life differently. She began to look at her life not only in terms of what she lacked, but in terms of what she could give. And that changed her face. And that changed her life. What about us? Will we see our lives and our world from a different point of view when this day is done? In this new year, let's focus not only on what we need, but on what needs to be done. Then, our faces, our perspective, and our lives will be changed too. And this will truly be a Shana Tova.
It's not how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. This quote is attributed to countless many. The words, though cliche, no less meaningful and prayerful. And our tradition has been expressing this for thousands of years through the sounds of the shofar. Rabbi Art Green teaches, the shofar sound represents prayer beyond words, an intensity of longing that can be articulated only in a wordless shout. But the order of the sounds contains the message in quite explicit terms. Each series of shofar blasts begins with tekiah, a whole sound, saying, "We are whole." It is followed by shvarim, a three-part broken sound whose very name means breakings. I started off whole, but I became broken. Then follows a truah, a quick series of blast fragments saying, not only am I broken, I was entirely smashed to pieces. But our shofar sounds do not end there. Each series ends with a new tekiah, promising wholeness once more. The final Tekiah fills us with possibility, potential, and hope. We may have fallen, but we will get back up. I invite us to hear the call of the shofar as a path to that promise of wholeness. We see, we admit, and we own the brokenness in ourselves, in our families, in our communities, in our world. And then, let us find strength in the final Tekiah to rise up, inspired to repair that which is broken on our collective journey toward peace and wholeness once more.
We rise for the Aleinu.
כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ מקדש השבת וישראל מלך על כל הארץ מקדש השבת וישראל מלך על כל הארץ מקדש השבת וישראל ויום הזיכרון. אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לשמוע קול שופר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. תקיעה שברים תרועה תקיעה תקיעה תרועה תקיעה תקיעה שברים תקיעה.
We join in our Rosh HaShanah.
הרשת שפתנו ירב לפניך אל רם ונישא. הרשת שפתנו ירב לפניך אל רם ונישא. מבין ומאזין מביט ומקשיב לכל תקיעתנו ותקבל ברחמים ברחמים וברצון סדר מלכויותינו.
Zichronot, remember us. We are accumulations of our deeds and our memories, the good and the bad, our acts, our schemes, our thoughts, our desires. At this time, nothing is hidden. We are seen. We are vulnerable. Let the shofar blast remind us of our covenant, instruct us to wisdom, and to live our lives in truth, righteousness, and love.
כי זוכר כל הנשכחות אתה ומעולם, ואין שכחה לפני כיסא כבודך. ברוך אתה אדוני, זוכר הברית.
Amen.
תקיעה שברים תרועה תקיעה תקיעה שברים תקיעה תקיעה תרועה תקיעה.
We all join together in the singing of Areshet Sefatenu. Please sing along.
הרשת שפתנו ירב לפניך אל רם ונישא. הרשת שפתנו ירב לפניך אל רם ונישא. מבין ומאזין מביט ומקשיב לכל תקיעתנו ותקבל ברחמים ברחמים וברצון סדר זיכרונותינו.
ברוך אתה אדוני שומע כל תרועת עמו ישראל ברחמים. תקיעה Karim Trua. Kia. Kia. Shvarim. Kia. Kia. Terua. Tekia Gidola.
We now take a moment to remember those who are no longer with us as we prepare to recite our Kaddish prayer.
We begin with Shloshim, those who have passed away during the past month. Lila Aftergood, Ellen Cohen, Raphael Cohen, Zena Davis, Samuel Engelman, Melvin Fischler, Sandra Moss Hyman, William Lerner, Hans Lind, Sol Marenberg, Seymour Nadelman, Margaret Peggy Phillips, Irene Stein, Skip Thompson. We commemorate the following yard sites: Robert Adlin, Sybil Adlin Lewenstein, Barry Adler, Solomon Agai, James Bacon, Diane Baracco, Anne Belitsky, Erwin Bernstein, Henrietta Bloomer, Earl Bogdanoff, Alfred Boehm, Suzanne Koretz, Carol Davis, Susan DeMille, Gertrude Diamond, Sue Dorskind, Carolyn Farkas, Nathan Friedman, Harry Friedman, Henry Gavin, Beatrice Gary, Larry Gershman, Petty Haddon, Paul Heller, Marcia Hervey, Gail Hughes, Morris Israel, Lillian Katz, Harold Kaufman, Victor Kessler, Shirley Klein, Evelyn Kramer, Leo Kramer, Brian Kulik, Adele Laxer, Alfred Levin, Harriet Levi, Lillian Lynn, Lurleen Mabry, Louis Malin, Lawrence Mandelberg, Lillian Marion, Fanny Millimed, Nathan Milner, David Nitka, Pearl Orloff, Bruce Packman, Bernard Palanker, Mercedes Perez de Bercio, Parviz Pirnazar, Kevin Platt, Minnie Rosenberg, Helen Roth, Joshua Roth, Richard Roth, Maurice Sachs, Dorothy Sachs, Clifford Schifford, Pearl Schneider, Maya Schlobin, Leon Silver, Morley Sklar, Helen Snyder, Linda Sullivan, Judy Tallman, Eileen Taub, Bruce Teichholz, Eugene Tober, Miriam Ullman, Harold Victor, Loretta Wasserstein, Lorraine Weintraub, Michael Werner, Rosalie Udovich.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach v'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabak v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudasha brichu. Le'ela ule'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
May God bless you and protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God always smile at you and be very, very good to you.
May God carry you through all your days, through your difficulties and your blessings, and grant you the greatest gift of all, the gift of peace.
Ve'asem lecha shalom,
Shana Tova, everyone. Shana Tova.
L'Shana Tova from the Mackoffs.
Shana Tova from the Hirshhorns.
Shana Tova from the Robinsons.
Shana Tova from the Victor family. Wishing everyone a safe and healthy New Year.
Shana Tova to everyone.
A sweet and healthy New Year to all.
All the best.
From the Powells.
Shana Tova. Love the Vogels.
Shana Tova.
From our family to yours.
From Dina
and Robert.
Shana Tova from the Gustanovich family.
I'm Vlad.
I'm Jody.
This is Mazel.
And this is Bamba. And from our 3 kids who refuse to be in the video. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova from the Cooper Shops. Evan.
Mark.
Caroline. And Ellie.
Happy New Year from the Connors. Shana Tova
from the Theater family.
Shana Tova from the Modell Goldbergs.
Wishing everyone a wonderful and sweet New Year.
And peace.
Shana Tova from Carol.
And Daniel Boville.
Shana Tova from the Bodak Moss house. from Marnie, Ed, Mason, Will, Camber, and Odie.
Shana Tova from the Davidsons.
Shana Tova from Jan
and Rick Burns.
Shana Tova from the Dragon Goldstein crew. We're missing all our WBT friends the holidays, but we're thinking of all of you and wishing all of you a healthy and joyful New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody, including from Buddy.
Oh, say shalom in Roma. Say shalom in Roma, say shalom aleinu. Oh, say shalom in Roma, say shalom aleinu. Say shalom, say shalom, shalom aleinu. Le'amo Yisrael, say shalom, say shalom. Shalom aleinu, Le'amo Yisrael. Oh, say shalom.